All right, babies, it's that time again. Oh, yeah. I was just watching an old movie inside, and all of a sudden I was walking around and I saw how gorgeous it is outside, and I thought, yeah, we need to get out there. So that's why I'm here. What we need to be for each other are conduits for God's presence and overwhelming creative power and energy to transform us from moment to moment. That's why I don't really think of things as like, people ask me, how was your day yesterday? And I'm like, yesterday, I can barely remember an hour ago. You want me to recall yesterday? So that's just my way of reminding you to stay present with God where you are with whatever it is you're doing and enjoy it. And when you stay present, then you're really not thinking about, blocks of time, because you're staying present. And I really feel like that's what Jesus was trying to bring across to us, and it just obviously did not work with the way Jews were handling things at the time, because of course he was raised Jewish and spent a lot of his time criticizing what they were doing. So if you find yourself continually being that way 2,000 years later, consider it a good sign that you're staying present with him, because he doesn't change. So what were the things he was criticizing? He was criticizing living a life of superficiality, where people are checking boxes of, yes, I did this, yes, I did this, yes, I'm approved by God because I do these things. And Jesus is like, no. You are lifeless. He used terms like snakes and full of dead men's bones and hypocrites. Yeah. And you have to think about it, like in today's world, where there's like this pressure for Christians to be kind and forgiving and pleasant. And you look at Jesus' life, where he's like challenging people publicly for their hypocrisy. I don't think there's any of us who would call that kind, but yet that's what he did, and that's why he was killed. So we shouldn't look for any other way of living our lives other than being present with him. So that doesn't mean we're constantly going around calling people hypocrites. But when it's time to, you don't shrink back from it, because you stand as a witness to what is forever present. have to rest my head because that angle's killing me. I always wonder, like, times like this, when the birds are so quiet, I'm like wondering, like, what's going on? Are they sleeping? Are they gathering food? Because, like, no one is singing. It's not like, sometimes you'll get like one species will be singing, but you can hear nothing's happening. Which is really interesting. And that's another thing that I really find useful in following God, is looking for patterns in natural life, because God created all things perfectly to reflect just eternal beauty and love and creativity and perfection. And so we really should pay more attention to recognizing those patterns in nature. And for those of us who grew up Christian, we often look at that kind of mindset as pagan, and just an example of not being enlightened, being more earth-based and not God-based, and separating ourselves from pagan practices. But the way I look at it is like we should honor all belief systems that showcase the glory of God's creation. And so there might be something that doesn't do that in pagan culture, or doesn't do that in Catholic culture, or doesn't do that in Jewish culture. Okay, so we ignore all that. But if there's anything good from any of those cultures or belief systems, then we need to honor that, because it's basically life-affirming, and God can only be life-affirming. And it's up to us to recognize that we're using His mind, His spirit, His heart in assessing what's beautiful around us and treasuring it and patterning ourselves after it, and looking for new ways to stay aligned with the ever evolving cycle of growth that's ever before us. Also, the sunlight is helping drop my blood pressure, which is good. And so is dropping weight and choosing food wisely and activity wisely, and dwelling on things that are beautiful and life-affirming. Because if it's life-affirming, then we're giving God praise, and God deserves praise. And it's a joy to live and be one with God.